Family now?
I think I'm number 3. My dog's passed. And now I'm a guest speaker. Thank you very much.
Yeah, Jim.
Yeah. Say it, Jim. I can't see that. Okay. Thank you to my son Vince for all the graphics up here for me. Not Gio, Vince is the one.
Yeah.
Thanks, Vince. Okay, so we're going to talk about the sand section right now. Andy, can you move on to the next one? The area maps. You know, we talked a lot about information that we can give clients. These are the best things you can have. And what I recommend is to take these with you to your open houses. And because you get a lot of people from out of the area that stop in, they don't know the area, and it takes you a long time to explain it. You can highlight items you want. You can put your business card up here on the top. But these are really, really valuable tools. We use them all the time, and it does give you a tremendous amount of information that a lot of people in this office have taken a lot of time to put together. But these are really, really valuable tools. I highly recommend you get as many as you can and hand them out, excuse me, to as many people as you can. I think we're the only office that does this. And pretty soon I know that other offices will take these and I'll copy them. But use these, they're really, really valuable. Okay, next, Andy. Okay, the current market. It's on fire. And we talked about this just briefly. Howard mentioned about the amount of sales and what's going on with the sales. And you can see from, look at your pricing on the sale prices on the current list that we have today, and how many properties are having multiple offers and how many properties are going over full price. And don't forget, with multiple offers, there are people that don't get it, so they're still buyers somewhere else. And properties that are getting 2, 3 offers, you know, those are 2 or 3 other buyers that don't get the property. Well, where are they going? They're looking again. And so that's something that we have to look at. The sand section, excuse me, is the hottest I think it's been in at least 3 or 4 years. There's a lot of activity, a lot of buyers. The brokers open, the public open houses are crowded. No matter where they are, and also on your public opens, one of the things that sometimes you overlook is put out as many signs as you can. A lot of people have put out a sign in front that go, oh, it's in the paper, it's advertised here, but you know, so many of the people come by their impulse. They're driving around, and they may not know your house is for sale, or they may see a sign on Rosecrans that you have listed 8 blocks away, but use the lead-in signs. Lead-in signs are really, really important. I think they work a lot. Andy, next one, please. Okay, on the current activity in the sand section, there are 23 current listings. Now, I took out on the bottom there, average day on the market's 42. Now, that's eliminating 6 listings that are on the market for 264 days, and they're still on the market. So I didn't want to skew what we have with these listings in there. So when you look and you see there's a couple that have been on the market over 400 days. So either the seller doesn't want to sell, he's so unrealistic with his price, or the agent's just putting a sign out, which is good because they may be in a position where they're putting a sign out just to get signed calls. So it's not always, sometimes you take a listing and you go, God, what am I doing with this listing? If you don't spend a lot of money on advertising, it could still be a benefit for you because you're going to get people that are going to drive by and possibly call you. All you want to get is that phone call. You want to get the phone call and convert that person into a buyer for you, possibly on something else. And if it's a high listing, like a $4, $5, $6 million listing that you know is not going to sell, when you get a call on that, you could possibly be getting a $4 or $5 million buyer. And that's the key. Keep them on the phone, get the phone calls. That's the most important thing. But as far as the sand section goes, the pricing, I don't know if the pricing is up, but what I do know is that our market has definitely leveled out. We are not in any kind of downturn at all in the sand section, and have not been, I think, for at least a few months, since the beginning of the year. And you know, we always talk about Super Bowl, and how, for whatever reason, Super Bowl is the magic day. And the day of the Super Bowl, our market gets busy. Again, same thing happened. And it's been happening every year since, I think we've been thinking about this since right around 2000. We had the most sales in February, didn't we, Howard? Most sales in February, we had multiple offers, and we have a shortage of properties. In the sand section, there are definitely more buyers than there are sellers. And the properties that are on the market now are, they are good, they're priced okay. The key, I think, is to price your property right at market, what you think is market, or get as much information as you can from your fellow realtors as to what market is. And you'll find out how you will be able to get more activity, you'll get more buyers. And spread the word out, even before the listing comes out. I think that's really important. Everybody, it seems, is in some or other networking group. Spread out that listing before it comes out. Build up whatever sizzle you can, and let the agents know, hey, I got something coming out. And when they say, can I see it now? Say, no, sorry, I can't see it. Wait until you get to where you have your brokers open. Then you possibly can get one or two agents that have buyers. And once you get the second buyer, then you know you're going to get a better price, and you're going to do a better job for your client. The single family homes and the townhomes. Townhomes, there's 18 active. The average list price is $1,632,000. And again, average day on the market, 26. Now there are 8 townhome properties that have been on the market with an average of 200 days. Average. And that's almost 7 months. And if they're on the market for that long, it's either price is really too high, bad location, bad floor plan, or a combination of all three. And again, this could be the same thing with the single family homes, where either the seller doesn't have reality, or, gee, I'm sorry, I used that word again, right? Where they just don't, they're not in touch with the market. And so that's something that you have to then look and see whether or not you want to talk to your seller and give them the information that if the property is not selling in the current market, something's wrong, because everything is selling. And like I said, there are more buyers than there are sellers, definitely in the sand section. Okay, Andy, next. Okay, properties in escrow. There are 17 single family and 11 townhomes. Average list price of the single families, $2,555,000. Average list price of the townhomes, $1,830,000, excuse me. Properties that, a lot of these properties are properties that have been on the market prior and have come off the market, and now they're back on the market and they're selling. Now I know on the one that we had on 311 32nd Street a year and a half ago, we had that on the market for $2,495,000. Could not sell it. Could not sell it at all. Sellers decided to lease it out, put it on the market at $2,549,000. Got multiple offers and sold it to $2,600,000. And that's happening, Jack. I know you had a couple of properties you brought back out. This is the great time to call your clients that you've had previous listings with that have not sold. And there are a lot of buyers right now that will even buy the property with the tenant in the property. You don't have to just have a listing where the seller's there or they're ready to sell. I know we have a couple of buyers that are looking at properties that they'll buy it even with the tenant in there because they want the property. And the other thing we're getting is a lot of investors, and especially in the sand section, because it's easier to rent the property in the sand section, and then you do have the opportunity to rent it in the summertime at the VRBO, which is, if a lot of you don't know, it's a tremendous, tremendous site. I highly recommend that if you have clients that have properties in the beach, you should look at that as a way to get them more money, or even properties that you yourself own. Okay, Andy, next please. Okay, off-market deals. Off-market deals are becoming a way right now when you don't have listings that your buyers want to buy. You've shown them everything, and how many of us, I know a lot, I know I get a lot of phone calls, I'm sure a lot of you agents also, from other agents, hey, what do you have? Do you have anything coming up? Do you have anything off market? Because there's, like I said, more buyers than sellers. That means the buyers are looking at the inventory, they don't see what they want. You have an idea of what they want, but you don't know where the property is. Call your fellow realtors. Call as many people as you can. Find out what do they have. Do they have anything coming up? 3 of the off-market sales, the one at 2920 The Strand, Gio's client actually bought that. That was listed on and off for about 3 years. And when his client, when he actually called Kristen Novoa, it wasn't on the market. And there's, on off-market sales, when you go back and you look and see something that has been previously on the market, now you have to make a personal judgment. Do you call the agent or do you go direct to the seller? I recommend personally that you call the agent. That's what we try and do. We want to be professional. We want to make sure that we're all realtors, we're all in the same boat. We all know what it's like to have a listing. You take it off the market, and then pretty soon your seller sold it to somebody else through a different realtor. Now you're really upset at that realtor. So be professional about it. I think you should contact the other agent first, find out if they still have the listing, find out information from them, and then go through them to buy the property. If you want to go around, that's obviously your choice, but I think you'll wind up with a much better reputation in town to all the other fellow realtors if you do it that way. 617 Crest is a property that was on the market for quite a long time, did not sell. They had a tenant. The agent who sold the property, what he did is he contacted the sellers and he got the property, and he got that in escrow. 1310 Manhattan Avenue is one of the townhomes that Kim Comic built a couple years ago. And again, the sellers weren't thinking about selling. Agent contacted the seller, and he made a deal there. So these are just a few of the off-market properties. I know there's more that have happened. That again, what you need to do is you have to contact other agents to find out. Jack?
No, I was just there.
Oh, can't hear? Okay. Andy, next, please. Okay, new construction. Who is buying and where? I mentioned last year when I did this about 6 months ago how well Kim was doing, and at the time we talked about what will continue to happen. Well, since then, Kim has sold all of her townhomes. That's Kim Comic. She sold her townhomes on Manhattan Avenue, and actually one guy bought 2 of them, and he bought them as investments and is renting them out. She just bought another lot.
Try standing behind the podium because you're catching the waves there. Maybe it'll be
Okay,
less
because
down.
it's hard for me to see that. Okay, better?
Yeah.
You're loud enough without it.
What?
You're loud enough without it. Just talk
I
loud.
don't even need this. Anyhow, so she just bought another lot on Manhattan Avenue to build 2 new townhomes. Matt Morris bought a property on 400 block at 7th Street, paid $1.6 for the lot, and has pre-sold the house already for a shade under $4 million. Dennis Maloney bought a lot, but I think it was in the tree section. Ken Johnson bought 2 properties. One of them was on 7th Street in the 200 block. And other builders now are looking at, well, if we're getting activity like this, maybe it's time to get back into construction. As new construction happens and there's more and more new construction, you'll see more and more demand. What was holding back the new construction prior was the hesitancy on the developer and the builder as to, okay, if I invest in this, what's my exit strategy? If I'm going to build this property If I don't make a profit, how do I get out without losing money? And that is always the key. If you're going to get involved in a development, always have some type of exit strategy, whether you could possibly have someone that's going to rent the property, or you know that one of your partners will own it or buy it.
Here's a
Here,
mic. It's really bad.
It's really
Just
bad.
put it down and talk. You can do it.
Okay.
You can hear you.
Okay, so I think that's an important thing to know. And when you do have new construction, now you're showing a lot of confidence. The market is showing confidence because the builders are the ones that I think will determine a lot of how the rest of the market continues to go. If you see confidence with building, then when you have a client, you can talk to the buyer. When the buyer says the key thing, what do you think is going to happen to the market? You say, well, look how much building we have going on. When you have building going on, you have confidence in the market. Because the builders are the ones that have the risk. They're putting a lot of money into it. It's not like the lots that they're buying are $200,000 or $300,000. The lots that they're buying in the sand section are going for $1 million, $1.6 million, $2 million, $2.5 million. So if you've got that kind of confidence, then you can spread that to your clients when they ask you, what do you think is happening to the market? You say, look and see how much building we have. It kind of perpetuates itself. And the other thing too, as far as new construction, anytime there's a street to alley property, you're going to build 2 townhomes. And that becomes a lot more valuable than a single family home because it's easier to build 2 than 1, and you're going to have a chance for a higher profit margin if you build 2. But on some of them you can't, and some of the builders will build, specifically they have a niche. Matt Morris has a niche, Dennis Maloney has a niche. They are top builders. When Matt builds a house, it will pre-sell. It's going to pre-sell just the way it is. Kim Comic built 2 houses on 23rd and Manhattan Avenue. Kim is another one that will pre-sell. Her feelings are, I want to pre-sell them, and they've already sold them. And I think they've got, I told John Chuka, his client bought the back unit for 2.6, and he was hesitant on it, and he's at a networking group with us, and I mentioned, I thought that was a great deal. I think she undersold it. And Rob Friedman, who's the listing agent, agreed. He thought that, holding it out, they could have gotten a higher price. But her position is, she's making a profit, take the money and run. There's nothing wrong. You never go wrong with making a profit. You never go wrong ever with making a profit. You don't have to be greedy. You don't have to get the last dime. But she's done great, and I'm very proud of her. She builds a nice product, and that's what we want. You want builders that build nice products. And those guys that are building in the sand section are building nice products. Ken Johnson builds a nice product. Matt does a fabulous job. I think Matt is probably one of the premier new home developers, as with Dennis Maloney. Excuse me. When you get up to Grant Kirkpatrick, that's a different level, and he's mostly is custom. When you get this $5,000, $7,000, $1,000 a foot, those are usually big custom houses. Andy, next, please. Oh, this is something that I'm not sure how many people know about this, but Rachel Judson has a website, and this is for off-market activity. So it's basically realtor to realtor. It's not where you call her and she does all the work. You could list on there, it's like a Craigslist for realtors in our area. And I highly, highly recommend this. It's rachel@judson.us. And let's say you have a listing or you need a rental for whatever price or bedrooms and bathrooms. Put on there that this is what you need. Or if you have something, put on there that this is what you have. Or I'm looking for a seller, or I'm looking for this type of property to buy. It's a real good website to have. There's no charge on it. Jack?
Yeah, I was just going to mention where he says there for off-market sales and leases, it's not to tout your listing again and again and again. This is for off-market stuff that's coming on, or that people have maybe a pocket on or something. But it's not to tout current listings that are on the MLS. That will just junk the whole thing up.
She'll
Right.
boot you. Yes, she will.
She will boot
She'll
you.
boot you if it's already listed,
Yeah.
or it's not booted.
But it's again, it's another tool. That's what this is. It's another tool for you, to help you in working with your client to either sell a property, list a property, get a lease, or put something on for lease. So this is, I think, really, really good. Andy, next please. I talked about this before, the price per square foot. I'll talk about it again because every single buyer that we talk to wants to know what does this sell price per square foot? And I just spend as much time as I can telling them, in this area where we are right here, and especially in the sand section, it's almost impossible to do price per square foot because of the variances of the property. Each property is specific in itself. If it's on the north side of the lot as opposed to the south side of the lot. If it's an east-west townhome as opposed to a north-south townhome. North-south, you're going to definitely get your view blocked. To the west, you could have the angles. On an east-west, you're going to have a straight-on view. A house on the 100 block of 6th Street is definitely going to sell for the exact same property as a house on the 400 block of 6th Street. And so the land is the underlining factor of value. The land is the value, the house is secondary. The land appreciates, the house depreciates. So when someone says, what is price per square foot? Say, in this area, we don't use that. If they insist on it, you can give it to them and try and get something else that is identical to it in the same location. That's the only way you can use it. Now in the village, there's another way you can use it in the village because all the houses are the same. However, since the village homes are 20, 25 years old, it's hard to compare one that's been totally remodeled to one that hasn't been remodeled. So price per square foot, I know I get it. We get it all the time from our clients, and I just personally think that it's something that it's almost impossible for us to use here at the beach, and especially in the sand section. Okay, market trends. Remember this when the market was so bad and then the sharks were coming up and taking up all the houses and we had foreclosures, and like we still do, but as far as market trends go, I just want to ask a few of you. Jack, you're first, #1 agent in the office for this year. Right, Judy? For this year only, Judy. What do you see as the market trend?
You know, I just think that there's a lot of pent-up demand and a lot of people who are really wanting properties. In the beach cities, we're lucky to not have as many foreclosures or short sales. And you know, I just think that if you're working right now, you're going to make money. If you're available, you've got to be available though. If people are around, I mean, you know, people are doing things off of open houses. Gio got that thing off of it, his sale off of an open house. Was wise enough to keep the guy around for a backup offer, and it still worked. You know, you've got to be available. You've got to be working. You've got to be working the weekends. If you're not working the weekends, you're not in the business.
To expound on what your point is, Gio's open house was 1 to 4. I was proud of him. He stayed there because he had business and people were coming in. The client who bought it came in at 4:30. So if he closes up at 4 o'clock because he wants to leave, he misses that client. He misses that client, it's a $2.6 million sale. Add it up, guys, it's a lot of money. 100% right. Susan, what do you think? Susan Jensen? Yes, I want to make sure you're paying attention. What do you think the trends are?
I think there's a lot of buyers out there. I think there's a lot of buyers out there, and I think we all should be working really hard because the activity is now, and who knows what the year will bring. So I'd be hitting it.
There's a lot of time, guys, to take vacations when the market slows down. And I agree 100% with what Jack and Susan so far have said as far as when the market is hot, you got to work. You got to work all the time. You can take vacations. You know, if it slows down in July and August, that's a whole different story. You don't have to spend the time when you know there's no activity. Just think back 6 or 7 months ago. We didn't have this kind of activity. You sit at an open house, 2 people come in. Oh God, what am I doing? Hopefully there's a good ball game on TV. But now you do an open house, you don't have time to sit down. You got people coming in all the time. Judy, what do you think?
Well, I agree with everything that's been said so far. And I agree with working and putting the time in. One of the things that you have to be careful of when you start the business is you get a few things in escrow, so you kind of, you get caught up in all the, the minutia and the paperwork and everything that has the inspections and all that have to get done. You still got to do that Sunday open house coming up because you're only as good as your next deal. So you have to make sure that you're churning. In other words, you've got your things in escrow, you got to keep a good eye on those, make sure that they're going well, but make sure that you're thinking down the line. So hold that open house on Sunday, even though you'd really like to take the day off because you're exhausted from the week, and get that next buyer that you're going to be working with. Make sure that you get out and see everything. It sounds weird when even if you don't have a buyer, no buyer, get out and see everything, because the minute you have it, you're going to get somebody that calls you on that, or that you're going to need that information for, so make sure you get out and see everything. I think the market is great. I recently did comps on the Strand because I have to, but did comps on the Strand. It is amazing the amount of cash buyers that we have out there. And we all believe in your product, I guess is one of the things I want to say. I've always believed in my product. I think it's easy to sell what you like. I love real estate. I believe in it. We've got so many, the stock market still isn't doing that great. It's still not safe. The world's uncertain. The only thing that you got that's safe is land. We all know that our clients that we sold properties to before have always made, all my clients have made money in real estate. I wish I bought a whole lot more instead of telling my clients about these good deals. But, we know that they can make money. And the people with money know they can make money in real estate. When you see people with all this cash putting it in real estate, they're not stupid people. These are smart people who know that real estate is coming back. And they're buying the premium properties, and Manhattan Beach is premium property.
Thank you. And that's a great point as far as don't get buried in the minutia. Don't get buried in the minor details. Minor details, you can work those out. You can get someone even to help you to work those out. Don't get buried in little stuff and mix the big picture. The big picture is, you got one deal, great. Let's get a second deal. Get the second deal, great. Let's go for 3. You know what I mean? That's a great point. And the harder you work, luck has a way of disguising itself as hard work. Oh, I've been really lucky. Yeah, but I've been working really hard to get really lucky. And it does. It's the truth. And you can see the people year in and year out that are always your top producers. They're always working. Call Jackie's always working. Call Judy, she's always working. You never find her. She calls me at 10 o'clock at night. My wife said, don't answer the phone, it's Judy. She does. And you laugh about it, but over the long haul, it's so important because it does. It's what we do, and it's how we do it. Jim, what do you think? What do you think of the market trends right now?
I think the market's fantastic. I think there's a lot of conjunction of a lot of things. The rates are really down. The sentiment is turning. If prices will level and maybe go up a titch, you're going to see lenders possibly go to 10% down to 1.2 or 1.4, somewhere in there. That's going to be a huge addition to the market. So the problem is product. And I was recently in a deal where there were 5 offers. I came in third. My clients were afraid to go up, but so we lost that. Next time we'll be ready. But it's all good, and if the politicians will keep their mouths shut, then people are naturally positive. When you don't have this overlay of negative coming out of Washington. So if they'll keep quiet, this thing is going to turn in 2012 substantially.
I agree with that. Jack, you have a point?
Yeah, I was just going to say, don't be afraid to tell people you're in real estate. Don't be afraid to carry your card around and give your card out to somebody. People are, they love to talk real estate, number one. They love to talk real estate with people who know what they're talking about, number two. And if you don't give your card out or have your card available for them, you know, or a couple cards to give to them, one they can give to their friend, then you're not in the business if they don't walk up to you and expect to hear real estate information.
One of our fellow colleagues saw a person out in front of the house looking at this house, a couple. He walked up to it, true story, walked up to them and said, "You guys looking at property?" He says, "Yeah." "Oh, here's my card, I'm a realtor." Sold him a house for $1.7 million. 40,000, just like that. Because he had, for whatever word, chutzpah, whatever you want to call it, nerve to go up to those people and ask them, "Hey, what are you doing? You know, you're looking at houses." It's stuff that it happens, and these are important things. And Judy's point about all cash buyers, the 2920 Strand people, Gio's clients, all cash, it's third home, $9,250,000, write a check. We are finding so many all cash buyers, a lot of buyers. I would say at least, would you agree, 10, 15%, 20% of all the deals now?
No, it's 30,
The
35.
Strand is probably, it's over 50%. It's
Of all cash.
Closer to 70.
It's 35% in California.
35. Brent Strokey's sold 1712 Strand, an 80-year-old woman with over $30 million in her account bought the house for $10.5 million. All you single guys, think about that. 80, ready to go over. With another $20 million in the account.
Go get her, Barry.
Barry Host, I know where you are.
I know what I am. I'm just trying to figure out my price.
Barry, say that again. I don't think everybody heard that.
I said, I know what I am. I'm just working on my price.
Anyhow, so Andy, next please. All right. Factors that will influence the market. All the things we just discussed. Inventory is low. Everyone agrees. I don't care, sand section, tree section, hill section, North Redondo, inventory is low. Everything is hot. Interest rates are down. They continue to stay down. The Fed chairman just said that he doesn't anticipate anything, at least for a year. So we know we got interest rates low. Consumer confidence. You know, one of the points that Jim mentioned before about having 3 or 4 offers and you're number 2 or you're number 3, sometimes your buyer has to lose. How many of us have had buyers, "Oh, I'm hesitant, I just don't know, I'm not sure." Sometimes a buyer has to lose a deal or 2 deals before they realize, you know what, I got to get the 3rd deal. I don't want to lose out 3 times. And I honestly believe when Gio was telling me about his client that did the backup offer, her backup offer was not where we were at when she ultimately bought the property, because she was actually in 3rd position. And then she upped it over the people who were in 2nd position and wound up with the property. Because I think and I don't know for a fact, but I think her feelings were, well, maybe they don't have that offer. One of the points that you were talking about, Hal, at the networking meetings. Maybe they don't have that offer. Maybe the agent's just trying to get me to come up to a number and there's only one offer. Well, once you lose that, you know, your buyer knows, hey, I got to get the 2nd one. That agent was telling me the truth. And especially you, it solidifies your position with the client. If it's a new client. If it's an old client, they know you, they trust you. But if it's a new client and they think, well, you know what, he's just trying to get a deal, she's just trying to get a deal out of me, they want me to make this deal. But when you don't get it and it goes in escrow, then they realize you're telling them the truth. Now you've even solidified your position with them even better, because they know you told them the truth. Okay, so that's something. Banks lending. Banks are lending, pulling teeth, giving children. However it is to get the loan, it's almost impossible, but you have to grind through it. And it is very difficult, and all of you I know that have gone through sales with lenders, it's very difficult, but you have to stay with it. You can't let it go, you can't get frustrated. And sometimes you have to double and triple out. You have to find out who's going to make the loans. That's an issue. That's why there are so many sales, and that's why so many of the high-end people, they don't want to deal with it. You know what? I'll trust myself. I'm a businessman. I know. I've got $10 million I'm putting down in the house. I know what I'm doing. They all feel that way. And so that's a big thing. The fluctuating of the stock market and parking the money into real estate. Every time the stock market goes up and down, people go to real estate. Stock market goes down, they go to real estate. Stock market goes up, you think, well, how far is it going to go up? When is it going to go down? Perfect example, it went down, what, 200 points a couple of days ago. Same thing that we talked about, same thing Jack mentioned. Real estate is a safe haven. Everybody has stocks, but only certain people can buy real estate. Stocks are a lot cheaper than real estate. But strong investors know if you park the money in real estate and you hold it, keep it. Try and do the best you can to hold on to the property. Sometimes it's hard, you get a negative, you have to sell. You know, then 2 years later you go, oh, why did I sell that? But this is something you also talk with your investors. You know, when we had the boom years, I think probably 40% of all the sales went to realtors. The realtors were realizing, hey, you know what, I see the property, just like what Judy mentioned. I wish I would have bought that property, and they start buying them. And then the key is to get that loan down, hold on to it, get a positive cash flow, and hold it forever. You know, so now, as the market turns, you're going to see realtors getting back into buying the properties again, I think.
Realtors can't get loans.
Yeah, well, here's the thing though. If you put 3 or 4 people together, you get enough money to get the loan.
That's true.
So if you're coming in with 10 and Jack's 10 and Jim's 10 and I'm 10, we've got now we're getting a loan for 60% instead of 80%. You get 5. You know what I'm saying? You have to almost group it together. The presidential election, how is that going to affect the market? Nobody knows. I personally don't think if either party gets in, it's going to change where we are. As long, with the economy the way it is, with the unemployment the way it is, it has a definite effect on interest rates and how long are we going to stay that way. We are lucky and we're blessed that we're here. I mean, you know, we could be doing this in Iowa, or we could be doing this in Temecula. We could be really in trouble. You know, you want to make 10,000, do 15 deals. You know, we do one deal and we're kind of like, oh, this is great. We got a lot of money on it. Look at my son; he keeps dressing up in new clothes. Okay. All right. The Swami knows all. This is the Swami's prediction in 2011. Interest rates will stay low. Ta-da! New construction will continue to grow. Ta-da! Prices will stabilize. Ta-da! Sales volume will increase. The Swami knows all. My son said there's more. I didn't realize that. He did something else. What's next?
Predictions for
Okay,
12.
one more.
Number 5.
It's 5.
What was 5 minutes? Oh, that's right. I forgot about this. Okay. Since Lane Kiffin lives in Manhattan and Jim Mora lives in Manhattan, now we're going to have the battle of the 2 universities to see. Look at Jim. He's worried already. He's shaking his head. He's worried already.
I think there's a game this afternoon, John.
But that doesn't count. Those sports don't count. This one counts. They're worried already. Sorry, Bruins.
You can remove that from the screen now. All right.
Delete that.
Thanks, John. That was